It's not anything to be ashamed of to say, well, it kind of looks like that structure's worked quite well for the entire duration of mankind, and so maybe we mess with it at our peril.
You're hearing about family values from the childless and unmarried. Don't follow them.
The women have to stop blaming men for their sense of malaise or misery.
I didn't create you people to kill and torture and rape each other. I created you to be good to each other. I love the God who had a flood.
So I just finished Stefan Molyneux's video on what makes him so angry about the Epstein case. Now, before I begin on this, I need to just take a step back and appreciate all of the support Trump is getting from the right in basically clearing his name of being in any way, shape, or form involved with Epstein. They had little to no contact, if any at all. Trump knew about Epstein. They moved in the same circles. Epstein attended a few events out on Trump's properties, and Trump once hopped on one of Epstein's planes to go to New York. That's it. That's the extent of their relationship. And it turns out that when Epstein was charged the first time for these same charges in Florida, he was the only one who stepped forward, talked with investigators, gave as much information that he could, and it was helpful information to the lawyers of the victims. That says that's pretty much all I need to know on that. He gave information to lawyers of the victims that they could use for Epstein and his other connections. Bill Clinton, not so much. 26 flights on the Lolita Express without Secret Service security? That's not shady whatsoever. But I left that video being very... I have mixed feelings about it. It seems clear that there are people handling the Epstein case who are clearly compromised in their ability to deliver true justice for these victims. People who are involved with the Clinton Foundation, people who are connected with the first Epstein case in some form or another. And it's very disheartening to hear that. It's very disheartening to hear that Jeff Sessions, as Molyneux points out, would recuse himself from the Russia collusion investigation simply for being within breathing distance of a Russian ambassador. Whereas these people, who clearly have conflicting interests, will not recuse themselves. They're going to put themselves in, and they're going to be involved, and they're going to likely sabotage the case. I hope that that's not the case. I hope that there is enough public outcry from the things that Epstein has clearly done that they're not allowed to meddle with the case. And this brings me to an awkward moment, because when it comes to cases like Epstein, this is not a question of evidence. The evidence is there. The evidence is there in droves. And if we wanted to find more evidence, we could. And I believe wholeheartedly that we should find as much evidence, get as many names as we possibly can on Epstein, on his operations, and all that he's done involving these young women. But when it comes to justice being served, I have a very this is not something that I feel should be... Let me just say this. If this case were to be grossly mishandled, if the charges were to be dropped, or a similar light sentence to the first one that was given, the first time around given in, let me explain to you, this guy spent literally no time in jail. No time. Those 13 months that he spent in jail was him with a day pass to go back to his mansion, and then when he was done with the day pass, he'd go back to the jail and spend the night there. That was his version of being in jail for 13 months. He served no time. He was not behind a jail cell. He wanted for nothing during his time served. And this deal that he cut with the attorneys was absolutely atrocious. It granted immunity to his co-conspirators. And his victims were not allowed to see the deal. They were not allowed to contest the arrangements of this plea bargain. That's atrocious. And if it happens again, God forbid if it happens again, I would like a world where a man like our President Donald Trump would take such a man out in front of the White House lawn, put Epstein on his knees, and put a bullet through his head. That's the kind of world I'd like to live in, because such injustices like that cannot stand. And the only way that we get justice from a corrupt system like that is if we demand it. And the question is, how do we get it? And I'm going to be extremely blunt. I don't know how to get it at this point. I don't know. There's no right way to get it. There is no politically correct. There's no morally correct. There's no principled way of getting justice the way that it needs to be done. And I'm having trouble dealing with that. I'm having trouble trying to figure out how to make that happen. And if you have any suggestions, I'm all ears. Because the only things that are crossing my mind are absolutely insane, and they're the kinds of things that would destroy the structural integrity of the nation. That's all I've got. And that's not where I feel the nation needs to be. So I'm incredibly conflicted at this time. But I know one thing. Epstein needs to burn. And he needs to burn by any means necessary. And I don't mean that in the typical leftist fashion. I mean, he needs to burn by and for the people at home with children in their arms who know that they don't want this happening to them. This is for mothers and fathers. This is for aunts and uncles. This is for brothers and sisters who don't want their fellow innocents to be victimized. And that's what sets us apart from the left. That's what makes us better than the left. This isn't political. This is family. This is personal. And as long as we remember that, at least, I think we can keep our heads held high. Anyways, guys, as always, stay carnal and have a good day. Bye.